As I mentioned in my last video, I was supposed to be in Italy with my mom in the spring of 2020. When that trip didn't come together, I decided to make a painting for her of the place we were supposed to be together on Mother's Day, with a note on the back promising that I would take her there someday. This painting, which she hung on her wall, kept our dream alive. 3 years later, here we are on the Amalfi coast. I don't believe that setbacks, obstacles, failures, or whatever you want to call them, are a sign that something is not meant to be or that I shouldn't keep going. If I believed that, then I wouldn't be the person I am today, because I wouldn't have learned how to be resilient, patient, and how to persevere, and I wouldn't have achieved any of what I consider to be my greatest accomplishments. Another goal of mine that took years longer than I thought it would is making my first short film, The Man on the Bus. I didn't go to film school and had no industry contacts or experience, so I had to start from scratch. Putting together a team took a long time, and some of our biggest and most notable challenges were that we had 3 different producers drop out. After months of pre-production and only 2 weeks before our scheduled shoot, we had to postpone the whole thing by 4 months until the spring. And then, the day before our actual shoot began, we lost one of our key locations. Luckily, I'd done loads of research and knew that these kinds of setbacks are common in the film industry. It's my own version of the same story that you'll hear every independent filmmaker tell. Making a film is always impossible, but we figure out a way to do it anyways. I had heard that making even a short film can take a while, especially with getting the necessary financing, but I never would have thought that it would take me almost 3 years from my first draft of the script until the film would be finished. And even when we had that final version early this year, and I started submitting to film festivals, that was still only the beginning of many more long months of waiting and rejection emails. But luckily, I found solace in the good company and good books of filmmakers whom I look up to. In his book, Independent Ed, Edward Burns writes, "If it's too hard for you, you're in the wrong business. If you like running into brick walls, stick with it." We stayed in a quaint and quiet town in Agerola, which was our home base for our excursions on the Amalfi coast and is also the starting point for the Path of the Gods. This trail is widely regarded as one of the most beautiful hikes in Italy, and I still struggle to find the words to describe how awe-inspiring it was. I think it's normal and okay and healthy for some of our big challenging goals and dreams to become dormant and be put on the back burner for a bit, whether it's because of time, financial, or energy constraints, or any other reason. When I talk about reframing a failure as a challenge, as an opportunity to prove my commitment and dedication, I am not a proponent of toxic positivity or of stubbornly and blindly muscling and hustling your way through something, as that's not sustainable or healthy at all. But when pursuing my goals becomes really challenging, it can raise the question, do I want this badly enough? And to be honest, there is no right or wrong answer to that question. I think it's just as important and valuable to realize when I don't really want something as much as I thought I did, or that the sacrifices aren't worth it for me, and free up my time and energy for what I do truly want. It can kind of feel like it's life's way of testing me, because if I'm not serious about it, if it's not a true passion, then after enough time passes, the fire will die down and burn out inside of me. But if, no matter what life throws my way, that dream is always at the back of my mind, it will always make its way to the surface. With that being said, I do still have to remind myself that progress is never linear, and rest, rejuvenation, and balance are important. So, whatever you are working towards, whether it's external, internal, whether it can be classified as an experience, an accomplishment, a skill, or something else entirely, it's most likely going to take you way longer than you anticipate, plan, or want it to. So it's important to try and make the process as enjoyable and sustainable as possible. It's important to figure out when and how to push yourself a little harder and a little farther outside your comfort zone, and also when to have self-compassion and be kind to yourself. The distance from when we stepped out the door until we arrived in the heart of Positano was a little over 11 kilometers. I still remember how it felt to come across the final set of steps that led down to the main road when we came across this view. And for a moment, it felt like time and my heart and everything just stopped. Because this is the painting I made for my mom in 2020 from a photo I found online. And here we are together in that exact spot 3 years later. On our last day on the Amalfi coast, we went to Minori and got to experience why it is nicknamed the City of Flavor. We discovered that even cats eat pasta in Italy. And we also walked the Path of Lemons to Maiori, which has the longest beach on the Amalfi coast with its dark volcanic sand. On our last full day in Italy, we took a ferry to the Island of Capri. We walked up more than 900 steps, gaining over 300 meters in elevation over 2 kilometers to get to the Villa San Michele, which was once the home of the Swedish doctor and author Axel Munthe. The building and its gardens are gorgeous and boast breathtaking views of the island. Munthe was an interesting man and lived an eventful life, to say the least. In his best-selling book, The Story of San Michele, he wrote, "A man can stand a lot as long as he can stand himself. He can live without hope, without friends, without books, even without music, as long as he can listen to his own thoughts, and to the singing of a bird outside his window, and to the faraway voice of the sea." And while I'm not sure I agree with that entirely, I do understand and appreciate and agree with this sentiment. What do you think?